Hello everybody, it's me Heather, and today I have a review and tutorial of the new Maybelline The Nudes palette. So let me start off with the review and then we'll switch into the tutorial. So this retails for around $10 to $11 depending on where you find it. It's in most drugstores, it's already popping up at like Walmart. And we were all excited because this is a full-size palette at the drugstore. And I'll cut to the chase. I'm not in love with it. I don't hate it. I don't dislike it. It's just okay. This is one of those truly, for me, truly mediocre products because it's not good, but it's not bad. The way I put it to one of my online friends is, we can either pay more at the drugstore and get more quality, or we can pay less and get a smaller palette. So for example, a lot of people have mentioned that the Wet n Wild trios are excellent quality and very affordable. They're usually like $2 or $3. And you get 3 eyeshadows, but they're really good quality. They have great color payoff, they're very blendable, they're long wearing. Whereas with this one, the finishes and the actual pigmentation, just the quality of the shadows vary throughout the entire palette. You have a nice little mixture here of mattes and shimmers, and even this one I would almost say is a satin finish because it's not quite matte but not quite shimmery, but it is a black with a little bit like just ever so very subtle sparkle in it, so it's kind of a satin finish. But overall, like, the darker ones seem to have more pigmentation than the lighter shades do. As you'll see, I have like a ton of these colors on my eyes right now to create this look, and you'll see whenever I show you the tutorial how many of these colors I used, and this palette simply lacks that wow factor. I'm just not wowed by this at all. I love that it's a $10 full-size palette, but the quality is just, I would rather have, you know, a quad that has better quality. Like, for example, Maybelline makes those great little, let me grab one to show you. For example, these, the Maybelline Ice Studios, the ones I have are all limited editions, but they do have permanent shades of these. These are very silky in texture, they're very vibrant in color, and they have just great color payoff. And, you know, I would rather just buy a bunch of these for the quality, even though I think they run probably, depending on where you live, $5 to $8 for one of these, just because the quality is so superior to this entire palette. And like I said, I just don't get that, you know, if you're going to do this, do it all the way. And they just, I don't know. But at the same time, I'm trying to keep in mind this palette does say The Nudes. So maybe that was the point. Maybe this isn't supposed to be super vibrant in color or supposed to have any kind of wow factor. Maybe this is just supposed to give you a variety of everyday shades to wear. But I don't know, once I apply them and I start blending them, they just kind of become blah. So yeah, I've tried these. I tried every single color in this in different combinations. I really tested this out, and every single time, no matter what look I created, I was never like, oh my god, I'm so in love with this look. Somehow the color selection on this is really, again, it's just kind of bland. It's hard to explain because it looks like such a pretty palette in the pans, but then once you start using the colors, there's just no magic there. I'm just not excited about this palette at all. But at the same time, it's not a bad palette. I mean, you can create an eyeshadow look with this, definitely. You have a lot of different color choices here. You have 12 colors total, but okay, blendability, they blend pretty easily, but they also kind of blend out. It's that kind of problem where it's like you have to apply a ton of product because once you start blending it, it just kind of disappears. So that's part of the problem, is they kind of wash each other out. So I definitely wouldn't recommend using this without some kind of eyeshadow primer or eyeshadow base. Every time I tried this out, I wore it with an eyeshadow primer, eyeshadow base, and even then it was still kind of like even like eyeshadow primers couldn't up the wow factor on this palette. But it's still, this is nice for people who don't have a lot of eyeshadow, or for people who are, you know, heavy-handed with eyeshadow. You won't have that problem with this palette. No matter how much you apply, it'll never be too much because it'll blend out. Once you apply it with on top of an eyeshadow primer, though, I mean, what you see now, it's going to be like this until I wash my face tonight. There will be like no creasing, no fading as long as I use an eyeshadow primer. I wouldn't wear these without an eyeshadow primer because it's just going to be Fade City. This just is not going to hold up, especially for my oily lid gals out there. But, so, like I said, if you have a lot of neutral / nude palettes, you'll probably want to pass on this. If you really want drugstore eyeshadows that are of good quality, again, I would recommend either the Maybelline Eye Studio palettes, or even the Wet n Wild Trios are better quality than this. Milani has new eyeshadows that are out that everybody's raving about. Those are all probably better quality than this. But like I said, if you're starting out and you're just now building your makeup collection, this is a nice, safe palette for, you know, learning curves, because you do have a nice variety of colors in here, and you can really pretty much throw any of them together to create a look. And as long as you blend, you don't have to worry about overdoing it. But like I said, I'm not wowed by this, but I'm still glad I got it, and I'm still happy to have it in my collection. But this will honestly probably be the last time I ever grab for it. It's literally just going to be a part of my collection. So that's just my opinion. Wish I had nicer things to say about it, but yeah, that's all I got for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and just jump into this. Okay, let's just go ahead and jump into the tutorial.
Here I am with all my makeup on, except for my eyeshadow, eyeliner, and mascara. So I'm using a Maybelline Color Tattoo Barely Branded as a base. And I'm using this color because it's kind of a really light, shimmery champagne. And I was hoping this would help my eyeshadow look to pop a little more, and that I would be able to build up the color a little more by using a really thick, shimmery base like this to make the eyeshadow a little more interesting. All the other times I've tried using just, you know, clear, you know, eyeshadow primers such as, you know, the Urban Decay ones, or I've also tried using Creamy Beige Color Tattoo, and each time the eyeshadow look just came out really blah. So I'm hoping by using this shimmery Color Tattoo, this will make it more interesting. Now, I'm starting with the gold eyeshadow, and I'm just patting it all over my lids. This is a really kind of strange shade of gold eyeshadow, because by the end of this look, this gold won't even look gold anymore. Granted, I'm wearing a color tattoo, you know, cream eyeshadow as a base that I guess maybe even washed it out a little more instead of making the color pop. But yeah, it's a strange color of gold because it, like, even though I love gold eyeshadows, but it just looks kind of blah. So now I'm taking one of the matte shades, and this is kind of a taupey brown, and I'm just placing it all in my crease, all the way in my inner crease to the outer edge of my crease, but not like closing it. I'm not like meeting my natural eye line, just staying right there in the crease. And just, I like to put matte shades in my crease a lot of the time to help, you know, add definition. And oops, sorry, I was off camera there a little bit. Maybe I'll catch myself later in the video and go closer in, but I'm using now the other shade that's opposite of the gold, and it is a darker brown that I was using just on the outer V there. And there we go, I finally caught myself. So now I'm using the black satin, I guess it's kind of a satin shade, and I'm just applying it on the very outer V, about just like not, just really just kind of dabbing it in there just to deepen the color, just to add a little dimension. And then I'm taking this taupe shade, it's also matte, and I'm placing that above my crease. And I'm doing that to just help blend out the crease shade. So I'm blending upward, back and forth, upward. And I believe I use all Real Techniques brushes in this video. So love Real Techniques brushes. You're able to find those at most drugstores now. Rite Aids, I've seen them at Walgreens, I've seen them at Walmart, Bed Bath & Beyond, Ulta, So I love that they're really branching out, and if you don't have any Real Techniques brushes, you should definitely grab some because they're quite amazing. So now I'm taking the lightest shade in the palette. It's a very white, shimmery shade, but it's very softly pigmented. So I'm just applying it extremely liberally on the inner corners of my eyes. And looks like I had a piece of fuzz there. Alright, and then I'm thinking about what I want to use next. Now I'm using just this off-white matte shade, and I'm placing that all over my brow bone to help blend out the rest of the shadow as well as highlight my brow a little. So whenever I can, I prefer to put matte shades on my brow instead of shimmer shades, because those are a nice way to accent your brow without making them too highlighted. And now I'm just using a black eyeliner. I'm using Zero from Urban Decay. I'm just applying that on my upper lash line, not winging it out, just applying it. Then I'm taking an angled brush. This is actually an angled brow brush from Tarte, in case you're curious. And I like to just apply black eyeliner on my upper lash line, no wing. And then I take the angled brush and just blend that out so it stays nice and soft, not too harsh. And it blends in with the rest of the look. Then just to kind of switch it up a little, I'm using Crave from Urban Decay. This is kind of a black with a hint of brown to it, so it's kind of a black brown, but you can barely tell the difference. It's basically a black shade. And I'm just applying that on the very, very bottom outer corner of my lash line. And just blending that out again with my angled brush. Then I'm going to apply eyelash primer and mascara, and that completes the look.
So this is the look I created using the new Maybelline The Nudes eyeshadow palette. So they are coming out with the brights and the smokies. I've seen some people have already found the smokies at their local Walgreens. So even though I'm not absolutely in love with this palette, I'm still interested in checking out the other two palettes and doing reviews and tutorials on those. If you guys want to see them, I'll do them. And even if you don't want to see them, I'll probably still do them to satisfy my own curiosity. But let me know if you guys have any other questions about this palette, anything that is on my face that I used during the tutorial that you didn't see, I will list down below. And thank you guys for watching. So questions, comments down below. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Tumblr. And I think that's it for today. If you're not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.